Welcome to another edition of Friday Videos here at vizwik. I'm Simon Gove, and today we're going to show you how to dynamically find components or view items inside of a view. Oftentimes you'll do this in a game where you have multiple buttons and you want to access each button and or all of them or all of your sprites from within a script and not necessarily have them drag and dropped inside of the script, because sometimes you may be creating them dynamically and you don't necessarily know how many there are. So let's use our default project here. I'm going to delete everything in here and as well delete all the code. I am going to use this script here. I'm going to call this tap because it's going to be the script for tapping, and I'm going to put a little print inside here to print out what happens. So let's create a game example like X's and O's, and say I have just an X in each one of these, and now I'm going to actually, you know what I'll do? First thing I have to do is I have to name the component so I can find it by the name. So I'm going to call this say sprite, just like that, and then I'm going to duplicate each one of these, and I'm going to do that so that the buttons in my game are each going to connect to this same tap script, and doing that they're all going to provide the same information, and so from there I'm going to have to figure out which button is actually being clicked on. I'm not going to try to align these because it's taking too much time, but you can do that on your own, and when you want to figure out which button it is, that's when this technique comes in, because it allows you to know which one is which. Now I'm going to put the tap button, tap script on each one. So there you go, just drag and drop on each one here. Do this quite quickly. And then when I tap on any one of these, it's going to produce an event that I'm going to print out to the console, and then we're going to check out this print event right now. So let's reload here. I'm going to go to the console, and then I tap on each one, and it's going to print out, well, a different event. But one of the things you'll notice is that each one of these has an ID. And so if I want to find out what that ID is, it is the object property that I need to get. So let's call it ID. And I'm going to take the object and find that ID and then print that out. And now if I clear the console, you'll see that each one of these is a different ID. Now that's fine, but how do I use this to find these buttons and put all of these IDs into a list that I can then reference later on in my code and find out which one of these is in the list, and then namely put a particular index on the list so that I can know what to do with each one of the buttons? Well, there happens to be a script operator that if you go down here and type this find view item by name. Okay, so what it will do is when we tap on here, we're going to find all of the view items that are by a particular name, and let's do that. So I don't need to do this with the tap button. Actually, we're going to create another button, and first we'll do another script, and I'm going to say find, call this find, and we'll add find view item by name. First thing we'll need is the view. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is put in the name, which we called it sprite. So it's going to find all of the items in the welcome view that are named sprite. And let's print out the results of that. Okay. And we're going to use a button to actually find all of these. So let's call this find. Find. I use a D there. And attach this script to that. Now, if we go and reload our script, and you see these are all the ones that I've actually clicked on, but let's delete this and click find. Boom. What it produces is a list of all of the IDs that are inside of this view that are part of the things that it found that have the name script or sprite. Sorry. So what would you do with that? Well, let's take all of these, okay, and change the value of all of them to remove all of these and turn them all to O's. So what we have a special operator for doing that called list loop, because we've got a list coming in, and we can connect the output of this to a list, And each one that's going to come out of here is going to be the ID, and I can use that in a set value. So if I do set value like that and set value, I could actually set visible and make them all disappear as well. But I'm going to just turn them all to a big O here to show you that it works. All right, so if I click again, boom, it turned them all to O's. Why? Because it went one after the other and set the value on each one to an O. You're probably going to want to store this list. So you could do this once when you initialize your program and find all the things inside of your view, and then put that in a list. And what we would do normally is we would take that and have a variable set. So let's call this buttons or sprites, since we called them sprites. And I can now save that list and then pass that along here. And now I've set the value of this variable to sprites. Guess what I'm going to do now with the tap? I'm going to actually use this sprites variable inside the tab. And I'm going to get the sprites. And I'm going to find out the ID, where is it positioned inside of the list. And we have a special operator for that, which is index of. All right, and there it is for lists. And I'm going to take the list and I'm going to take the ID, and it's going to print out the index of the object or of the ID that it found inside of here. So each time I click on a button, I'm going to know where inside the list, what index inside the list each one of these are. So, oh, there we go. Now I have to set, because it doesn't recognize this sprites variable here yet. So I'm going to click on this first, and now click here, and this is 0, this is 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. There you go. You can see that there's 2 and 6 and so forth. So now, whenever I click on any one of these, I can find out what index it is in the sprite, and you can do things with it, because now your game actually allows you to know which one of these buttons you've clicked on, what index it is, and do certain things. So for example, I can take the index and I can set the value of the particular button to the index. So take the button's index, take the index of the button and set the value to that particular index. And what's it going to do? Well, it's going to take the number of the index and set it to the button. So you can now know what the ordering of your buttons are correctly. There you go. So there's a little bit on how to find things dynamically in the view. Have fun playing with vizwik.